topic we want to talk about on this episode, welcome back, by the way, High Value Man Conversation, this is episode 32, is are you preoccupied or purposeful? Let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. And don't just say yes to another thing.
Yes.
Yes. So not another thing. So this topic started because we were having a conversation around taking on new things.
Yeah. I think both of us are wired to be movers, producers. Not that there's greatness around that or not that we choose that. It's just how we're wired. So we often find ourselves in a place where we have the opportunity to do things, to do more things.
Yes.
And it's very easy for us to dilute the time that we have, the quality that we give, the value that we're able to bring, if we allow ourselves to continue to be diluted.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And saying yes to things that are not aligned with purpose, ran through a filter of core values, that you don't bring good counsel in to check to actually, hey, is this a smart decision? By not doing that, you end up just being full of activity, but no real accomplishment.
For sure. And this is such an important dialogue, Aaron, because Dr. Gabor Mate, who is a huge influence in my life for the past decade, says that the greatest stress in life is to be someone that you are not. And we can find ourselves where we're adding so much to our plate that we just become whatever the circumstance and situation makes us become, versus being dialed in on the who that we are and then focusing our time, our energy, our efforts on that who so that we produce more purposeful fruit in our life.
Yeah, where you're diluted because you are overwhelmed and overcommitted and burdened. You're not able to show up in the world and give your best and your highest to your most meaningful relationships, close friends, your wife, your kids, all of that.
Yeah. So a hugely important conversation that I know will land on every man's plate or every ear that's listening to this, because we've all lived it or we're sitting in it right now.
Yeah. And I think the good thing to touch on is if you are overcommitted, you know what it feels like. You're pressured, you're preoccupied. So you're sitting in the conversation, you're on date night if you've scheduled date night with your wife, but you're thinking about work you have to do tomorrow, or you're hanging out with the kids and you're distracted, checking your email, checking your phone. You're completely not present. So you're preoccupied with one of the many things that you said yes to that may not all be in alignment with your purpose. So this conversation, we're not only going to walk you through how to make intelligent, purposeful decisions so you can stay in a state of growth and healthy tension rather than being overwhelmed, but also how to start saying no to things, effectively so that you can create some more margin in your life so you can be more effective as a man.
For sure. So let's get into this. Life, Aaron, is busy. And it feels like as I look retrospectively over the last 2 decades of my life, my entire life has been busy. But when I do that, I think about myself in my 20s and what I accomplished there, leaving my 20s into my 30s and what I accomplished there. And I go, man, I thought I was busy then. I do so much more now on a 10, 20, 30x scale.
Sure.
That I'm really grateful for those seasons because of the pressure that I allowed in my life, the tension that I created in my life, because it's also increased my capacity. So as we have this conversation, to really think in that context of this is a preparation for my next summit, and to be decisive with what you choose to be pressure, what you choose to be tension, which we'll cover both of those as we move forward in the conversation. But just to be very decisive in where you're spending your time.
It's good. Yep.
What I love is the topic that you kicked off just in our conversation before this was that presence is slow. Presence is slower. And I think as we head into the holiday season, because we're shooting this as we head into a holiday season this year, is that I hope all of us have had the ability, especially over Christmas for me, usually December for me, there's a couple weeks in there where I'm a lot slower. I'm not as involved in the marketplace as much. I'm a lot more present with my family. Kids are out of school. We have time that we have scheduled to be together, mornings that we're going to sleep in, make breakfast, be in our pajamas, and just be around one another, maybe with a fire in the background. And so just that part of presence does feel very slow, although it's chosen, right? It's actually on the calendar. We can expect it.
Yeah.
So if you ever walk that out in your life, if you've ever experienced that, is life can feel more that way if you choose for it to be that way, if you're decisive about your purpose versus continually overcommitting by saying yes, 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 yes to everything.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is you can create far more efficiency and effectiveness if you take time to slow down, so you can actually speed up. I think about the recent trip I had to Spain and Portugal. I was just noticing there's a completely different climate and culture of people. They have a slower tempo.